right, and counting down in 3, 2, 1. We're live. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Tuesday Rehearsals. As always, I am John with RockBranded. Why don't we go around and introduce everybody? Scott?
I'm Scott Cole. There's nothing notable about me. I'm Dave today. Dave 2.0.
No, not at all. You're being far too modest, young man. Far too modest, indeed. We'll catch up with what you have going on between Mudblossom and the Mailclub and Uncle Spudd and everything after that. But first,
and
favorite nemesis, Tony. Oh, go again. Sorry.
The infamous Cooperstone Badge, singer of songs and corrupter of youth.
That's why you're here, Scott. You've been selected to be corrupted today. I hope you're ready.
All right, so. Yeah, I'm ready. I was a little freaked out, but then I was thinking, like, it's just Dave. So, I mean, how hard could it be, really?
Right.
I can at least be Dave.
Well, Dave usually comes here with some serious info. Wikipedia is everything.
Oh, dude. Yeah. Dave's a line producer.
True. Dave does his research.
Yeah.
Dave does his research.
Yeah.
Makes me look like a fool because I sometimes listen to the songs we discussed.
I know. Well, I just like I was telling Scott before, I just listened for the first time to "God on His Side" by Dylan. Just a shout out to everybody. Just so you guys know, today we're doing protest songs, and we have guest host Scott Cole, who's filling in for our beloved line producer and host Dave Colbert. So anyway, welcome back, Scott. It's like you're the first everything. It's like you were our first guest host. You were our first guest and our first guest host now too. So that's that's something else, you know. So
I'll take it.
Yeah. So we'll have to start referring to first as a Scott Cole
right
at Tuesday Rehearsals.
Yeah.
So, but I'm gonna leave it up to you if you want to go first. I thought both your songs were amazing. If you want to go first,
first. He chose two songs.
Yeah. I protested my right to one song and took two.
You brought two along. They staged a sit-in before the thing. They're like, we're not going on unless you let us do both. So
yeah.
So we had to do it. But anyway, why don't you go ahead and tell us about the two songs you picked today?
Okay. So I couldn't really choose between The Times They Are A-Changin' and With God on Our Side by Bob Dylan, because they're both very timely, I think. Like they have been right along, but right now my generation is really seeing it for the first time, I think. So It's like these were just a couple of perfect songs for this era, I thought, as far as protest songs.
Yeah, The Times They Are A-Changin', you know, was very appropriate for the 60s. Yeah, it is appropriate for today as well. And like, also, I'm not sure that the times really changed back in the 60s. There was a lot of talk of change, but things then kind of went back to where they were.
Right.
Right.
But you kids have a chance to make it happen.
Well, I got to be honest, we've been through some turmoils in our lifetime, and you mentioned that this is kind of the first time in your lifetime that the quote-unquote times are changing.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I'd say this time in my life is extremely significant as well. Like, I've never been through a pandemic. I've never been through like so many different riots and just so many different things happening either. I mean, I've seen some shit go down. I remember 9/11, but go ahead, Tony.
Baldness and going gray and arthritis.
I just cut my hair because the sides are getting a little thin. That long hair just makes me look like a weirdo.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
I gotta shave mine again.
If anyone wants to see long hair on a weirdo, they should watch the first like 15 episodes of 3 Guys 3 Songs and see me with just my hair like just grow. It's like it really got to mad scientist levels of significance. So
you did. You were pretty shaggy there for a while.
I was. So, yeah. But yeah, so it's like, so that being said, Times Are Changing is a really good song, but I also want to talk a little more about maybe the lesser known song that you picked today, and I think a better song and a better statement in so many ways. And if you want to go ahead about that, you know.
Yeah, the reason I like that one so much is because, like, the times they are changing it is a big statement, but it's one that I think Dylan made a lot. He made that statement in many different songs, but with God on Our Side is sort of directly attacking the fact that sort of, I mean, this boy learned in school that the country has God on its side, and in all these wars we have God on our side. And at the end when he says what is it, he'll stop the next war. If God's on our side, he'll stop the next war.
Right.
And that's sort of what I've been feeling more now than ever. But for a long time I've just thought, if America has God on its side, let's just think about the history of America. We show up and we steal the place violently. You know, that doesn't seem like a nation that's operating under God's will.
Right.
And so, you know, why would God be honoring that sort of a thing, those sorts of decisions and whatnot? And I just think that ending, if God's on our side, he'll stop the next war. A country with God on their side, a country who is asking for God to be on their side, shouldn't be waging war on other countries, you know, shouldn't be treating their people the way. There's also a line about gases. We have like deadly gases or something, and that was very relevant to me. And yeah, I just think with God on your side, you don't need that sort of safety. You wouldn't be making those sorts of decisions, you know. You got God on your side. God is love. Use love.
Yeah.
But you know, a lot of people didn't like Dylan when he got into his religious phases.
Mm-hmm.
I personally think lyrically it was at his height when he got into that stuff. Because I think he really was feeling it. You know, I think he was going through a change, a personal change that moved him deeply. And, so, you know, I mean, yeah, his stuff from the early 60s and in the mid 60s was good, but then, you know, he grew as a person and I think some of his best work came out then.
Yeah, I just listened to a little bit of Slow Train Coming the other day for the first time, and some of the lyrics on that, it's still, a lot of it's about social change, but when you think about it, if you're reading about Jesus, and that's the example, you should be about a lot of social change, you know? You shouldn't be accepting the status quo. You should be challenging it, really, for betterment and equality and everything.
Yeah, I mean, you know, Jesus threw over the tables of the money lenders in the temple, you know? I mean, that's the kind of Jesus I'd aspire to be.
Yeah.
And I'm not a particularly religious person, but, you know, that's, when I picture Jesus, that's what I picture him, throwing over the tables of the money lenders, man. You know?
Right. Absolutely.
You know, going against the grain and looking out for, you know, looking to help, looking to extend a hand out in friendship and help rather than extend a hand out savagely. Yeah, or judgment. Yeah. What I really got from it was just because you're made to believe that you're right doesn't necessarily mean you're right.
That's another.
It was like, and it just really that really hit me, and
yeah, those lyrics are profound.
Yeah, it just blew me away, and I just listened to it literally like 10 minutes ago, because again I was familiar with Times They Are Changing, so I was like, oh, okay, and then it was like, oh shit, let me listen to this other song real quick, and it totally, I was like, oh, you know, I was kind of not in the mood to podcast, and I was like, oh, we got to talk about this, you know, you know, and it was inspiring. And there was another big point that I got. I think it's about how easily we can be manipulated into thinking that we're doing the right thing.
Right.
You know, and that's really poignant today more than ever.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Absolutely. Great choices, Spudd.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks for letting me do both.
No, for nothing, man. So
Johnny, not so much.
Is that the next one we're talking about?
guess so.
I'm
That's my cue.
Good
That's
stuff.
my cue.
Honestly, I don't remember that song. I do remember the
I've never
sun
heard of it.
emblem with the barbed wire across it. I remember that emblem,
Yep.
but
Well-
I don't remember the song. I remember the stance and I remember the movement, you know,
Yep.
but I don't remember the song.
Yeah. Well, part of the reason why I picked it was, first off, you know, it was like, I thought it was a really great song back when it came out in like the 80s and stuff. It was one of the first times that they got rap and rock artists together. And the guy behind it all is the guitar player for the East Street Band, Little Steven. And he was also played Silvio Dante on HBO's Sopranos. Another thing too is like that assortment of artists. There was a lot of that back in the 80s. There was We Are the World. There was Band Aid. There was a lot of times that rock stars and rappers and whatnot all got together for a particular cause. And I just remember, I think it was like maybe 1983, and I kind of had this belief that, as bad as like racial or things were around the world, it certainly wasn't as bad as it was in the 60s and the 50s. You know what I mean? It was like, these are the 80s, man, you know? And so to hear that song, it kind of made me aware of what was actually happening in South Africa at the time. And what makes it poignant today.
What was the name of the song?
Sun City.
Sun City.
Sun City, yeah, because apparently Sun City was it was like a getaway. It was like where stars and artists would go all the time, and they'd perform, and they'd get paid all this money and stuff. And it was like a big like vacation spot. Like people would go there and just have a blast and love it. And unbeknownst to so many people, it was basically modern day. It was modern day slavery. It wasn't basically. It was modern day slavery. And part of the reason I think that song is poignant today is because this is something that happened in my lifetime. This is not something that I read about in a history book and didn't experience. This is something that I kind of lived through and experienced. And this, again, is something that I'm, as of today, this is something I'm living through and experiencing again. And it's just, I think that's why I picked it today. And I knew Tony would hate it, but
Well, I wouldn't say hate it. I wouldn't say hate it. It doesn't resonate with me. It doesn't hold my attention. It's not a bad song. It's just, I don't know.
I have kind of a hard time with a lot of 80s music. For some reason, like the way it's produced and stuff, that's the turnoff for me. But the song itself, I like the song, and I like the lyrics, and I like a lot of the people that are on it. Right. I didn't know Joey Ramone was on it when I first heard it, and then I looked up the lyrics, and there's that Joey Ramone part. I was like, wow.
Yeah. There was something wrong with music production in the 80s. It was sort of like this factory feel. Like everybody came out and then everything kind of sounded the same. I don't know.
I think a great deal of the 80s, what they were trying to do is like reproduce a lot of stuff that happened by accident in the 60s and 70s. And they were just trying to like, oh, let's go and recreate this, and we'll create this reverb and stuff. And I think there's a lot of gating, a lot of compression. You'd hear some bands in the 80s and it's like they sounded great. They sounded like really tight musicians. They sounded like they knew what they were doing. And then you'd go see them live and you'd be like what happened?
Yeah, well, yeah, that happened too. Yeah. Nonetheless, it's a great concept anyway. I mean, let's all get together and make a song and stand up for something, which was great.
Hats off to that, so indeed. There you go.
I'm not going to overly criticize John for his choice this week.
No. Listen, I enjoy the criticism. I know I have weird eclectic tastes. I know it's like it's 50-50 whether this is going to be something that's going to vibe with a lot of people. You know what I mean? And
now I, on the other hand, picked a song that's been recorded in the past 30 years or so, as opposed to this old 60s music that I generally pick.
Right. Why did you pick that?
Well, for one thing, Phyllis loves Rage Against the Machine.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, favorite band. and that's got to be one of her favorite songs. She's been on this kick lately where she watches all these reaction videos of all these people watching, singing, listening mostly to that song, but it's a lot of different things. But she loves Rage Against the Machine. She loves that song, and I also love it. But you know, she used to, back when she worked back in the banking industry, and she'd have a bad day at work, she'd put her headphones on the way to the train, and she'd be walking down the street saying, "Fuck you, I won't do what you're telling me." You know, a little 5'2" lady in business attire raging against the machine. So yeah, that's one of the reasons I picked it. I also love Rage Against the Machine. And I think they're still appropriate to today's messages too, more than ever, probably.
Yeah.
Right.
And it, you know, it's about police brutality.
Right.
You know, so you know, if that's not a message that we need today, then you know.
Right.
Right?
One thing I didn't expect that pick. I hadn't even thought of that, but I was like, wow, that's definitely very poignant. And one thing about that song is growing up, I was like, I live in Central Maine, you know, it's like, it's a pretty conservative place. And I grew up fairly, sort of like right leaning.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, why are they, you know, why, what, come on, why? And as I grew up, the lyrics, it's funny, the nuance in lyrics that you don't pick up on when you're a kid, that later it's like, the wording they're using, the way they're saying it, and why they're saying it, it's meant to burst your little bubble, you know, like of comfort. It's meant, if it makes you uncomfortable, it's doing its job. It's bringing something to your attention that you don't want to hear, and
Right.
that's why I think it's a great song. Not because it's cussing or, you know, like, and
It's cool, man.
Like, oh, this is awesome, dude. But it, you know, it's saying something that is not comfortable for a lot of people. It wasn't for me as a kid, because I'm taught these things, you know, these people are good, these people are bad, and then you meet people, you see things go down, and it's like, well, that was, well, it's like going back to with God on our side. You can be taught to believe that you're so right, and you're just blind to the fact that you're hurting people.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah. And insofar as cussing in music, Scott, it's me and Tony's generation made that thing a thing. So you guys, like, you know, to normalize it for you young kids. So you can thank us for that.
I don't fucking swear, man. It doesn't make it cool, man. Doesn't make it cool.
Doesn't make it any cooler. Stay in school, Scott, you know.
Do drugs. I don't drugs.
I went today, failed, and I didn't graduate, but I went to the very last day. And then I ED, so I went to even more, so I think I did pretty good. No college.
Cool.
There was something I was going to say about one of those songs. I can't remember what it was. Terrible at articulating, you know?
Well, you're from Maine.
That's fair.
I disagree. I think that's totally saying great, man. I think you articulate just fine. I really do. So, but yeah, it's like it's like I was afraid that this episode could have gone a little too heavy. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I'm really happy that we were kind of keeping it out, ignoring the parts that need to be heavy. And I appreciate you guys. You know, like this was a good category. I think Dave's going to be bullshit that he missed this one though, because you know, it's I think we're making some. I think we're making some good points here, and I hope a lot of people get to hear this and, you know, their own experience into it well.
Yeah, definitely. I felt the same way as you, though. I was pretty unsure. You know, it could go many different ways, but I think we did pretty good, boys.
I'm pretty happy with it. I'm really happy with it. And I know it's like the first thing happens on Tuesday rehearsal, call it a Scott Cole. It's
I'm
like
glad.
you're, again, our first guest host. So listen, before we sign off or anything, what's going on with the bands? Are you still just at 2? Do you have 3 now? Like what's happening?
Well, so there are 2 that are like official and have names. My buddy Jake, that's in Uncle Spudd, has a bunch of projects that he wants me to collab with him on. So, you know, next time I'm on, we could talk about those. Mudblossom and the Mailclub, finishing up the album. Got to get a little bit of flute, a little bit of trumpet, and I think that's going to be done. So hopefully by the end of 2020 is what we're looking at. Uncle Spudd, where the gears are turning again now that we can see each other a little bit, and we're going to start working on recording the album. It's all written. So 2021 probably for that album. A band I used to be in, Man is Murder, did a cover of Killing the Name at a Standing Rock event. So that's on YouTube if you want to go watch
Check
that.
it out, folks. Check it out.
The entire thing. So that's cool.
Excellent. Well, do me a favor. See the link to that in the chat after we finish this up, and I'll make sure they get a shout. And we'll put it. I like those weird connections happen, like on the Tuesday Rehearsals podcast network. You know. So, but I think I lost you guys. I don't know.
So this is the real stuff. This stuff won't even see light of day.
He's pretty frozen too.
Yeah.
We lost you there.
We frozen?
Yeah. You were frozen. Frozen to me. So, but we.
Conversation.
You've been kind of shaky this whole time anyway. I don't know. Internet connection is not that great, or I don't know. I could talk to Scott perfectly fine when you broke up there, but I don't know what's going on. You're on recording, so we're the ones who are frozen.
Yeah, I think that I mean I could hear you, I couldn't see you, but yeah, I think it's my internet connection is a little iffy. So we're still looking for the new studio right now. So with us, folks, that's all I can ask. We did get a lot. I think I'm going to send a recording now. So Tony, do you have anything you want to before I?
No, I just wanted to give a shout out to all the reprobates and bums who actually watch and listen to the show, and stay skanky or swanky or something. Say something.
So, I'm going to say, may the sound check forever be in your favor, and I'm really proud of this episode. This episode was pretty good. So have a good night, everybody. Thank you, and shout out to the Rehearsals podcast preview, and shout out to our 31st subscribers on YouTube. Yay! So
yay.